Have you ever thought about why you recognize a phone number? And not just Jenny's phone number, but any phone number in the many variations they can appear. It's all about the pattern. But how do we tell a computer to recognize a pattern? And that's when regular expression comes in handy. Regular expressions are the language, I'll say, we use to tell a computer or a program how to recognize a pattern. And to tell them to recognize a phone number, it looks something like this crazy thing. So it is a complex language. But let's take a look at a more simple regular expression we can use to find and extract the first name and the last name from an email address. To do this, we're going to use this regular expression tool called Regexer, and it's a great way to kind of practice and learn about regular expressions. So I'll click on the link to open that up. Okay, in this tool, I have created kind of a template, and we're going to go in the top left corner and click on Fork to create our own version, and then Fork again. And that creates us our own version. And then near the pattern settings in the top left, we'll click the back arrow to return to the menu. And we're going to open up the cheat sheet, clicking on that. So this is some of the kinds of things that we can do in regular expressions. So character classes are the kinds of characters I'm going to look for. And when we write a regular expression, we're going to use this expression area in the top center, and we'll put our expression between the two slashes. So I'm going to start by typing a dot, which is matching any character except a new line that we can see over in our cheat sheet. So when I do a dot, I can see the first letter is selected. But if I try the \W, which is matching a word, so this is alphanumeric, I also see the same thing. If I try \D, I'll see nothing because there are no digits in my text here. I can also try putting letters in brackets. So if I do some letters in brackets, then I will see the first matching letter get selected there. So if we want to select all these letters here, these first few letters, we'll need to use one of the ways to say we want more than just one. So for that, I'm going to scroll down to the quantifier section, and we'll see that using an asterisk means 0 or more. The plus means 1 or more. So when I take my original option where I put a dot in, and if I add an asterisk after that, I'll see it's going to select everything because all of the characters in my email address are what the dot means, which is any character except new line. So I need to be a little more specific from that. So I can try the \W option. And now we're getting everything up until that first dot because that dot in the email address doesn't match. So we have written our first regular expression. Now what we need to do is go and take it over to Google Sheets. And then I'm going to go to File and make a copy of this. And what we have in this spreadsheet is a list of email addresses, and we want to pull out the first name and the last name. So we're going to use that regular expression we created in the regexer tool here. But first we have to write the formula for our regex. So I selected the cell at the top of first name, which is B2. I'm going to click in the formula bar in the top to write my formula now. I'm going to start with equals, and then I'll start typing my formula, which is going to be regex extract. This is actually going to allow me to use regular expressions to extract part of my string, that email address. So I'm going to click on that. The first parameter is the text. So what am I looking in? And that's going to be this email address here, mabel.ortiz. So I'm going to select right on that cell, which is A2. Now I'll do comma to go to my regular expression part of the formula. So in Google Sheets, it's a little different. Instead of using the slashes that we saw in the other program, we are going to be using quotation marks, double quotation marks. So our whole regular expression is going to go inside double quotation marks, and then we're going to end everything with a end parentheses. So if we go back to regexer, we saw our expression was \W, which means any word or alphanumeric character. And then we use the asterisk to say 0 or more that match that until it finds something that doesn't match us. So we'll start with that. We're going to do \W, and we'll do our asterisk, get rid of that space, and when I hit enter, I will see it found the first name. So that's fantastic. And then it had suggested copying it down. I can go ahead and copy that down, and I have all the first names out of my emails now. So this first name looks great, except it'd be great if I could capitalize those first letters. And in Google Sheets, we can actually use a formula to do that, and that's the proper formula. So I'm going to put parentheses around my whole regex extract formula, type proper, and then an end parenthesis at the end. And now I will go ahead and update that down the sheet, and I have all my first names extracted now and made proper. All right, so to get the last name, it's going to be a little more complicated. So let's go back over to regex here. So as one note, I did see some of these email addresses have numbers in them. So let's go ahead and pop a number in, our first last one at stonybrook.edu. So we have that example to work with. And now we need to figure out how to go after that period. So what we'll do is we'll put a period at the beginning. Remember though that when we type a period, if I hold my mouse over that, it's saying this is matching anything. If I want to actually say, okay, look for a period, not the period character class, which means anything, I'm going to need to look at this escaped characters section. I can see that putting a backslash in front of one of these characters means, no, I actually mean a period, not the period that means any character. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and put the backslash before the period. And now when I hold my mouse over this, it's going to tell me this is going to actually match a dot. And then I'll see that my regular expression is selecting the dot and all of the last name, including the one. But I definitely don't want the one and I don't want the dot. Spoiler alert, when we put this formula into Google Sheets, it's not going to actually return the dot eventually. They work a little differently. But let's work on our \w. We don't want to return that one. So if you remember in here, we had this bracket function here, the character classes. So whatever we put in the brackets, we can match all of those. Now, I don't want to sit here and type the entire alphabet because it could be really any letter in there. So what we can do instead is do lowercase a -z, and if I put that in brackets, then it's going to find any lowercase letter and match that. And because I have the asterisk, it's going to match as many lowercase letters as it can find after that dot. Now, just in case our email address has any capital letters, we can also include all of our uppercase letters by doing right after that last lowercase z, uppercase a hyphen uppercase Z, and now we're going to find all those matches. Okay, so let's go ahead and try this in Google Sheets and let's see what we get. So we're going to go back over to our Google Sheet. This time we're going to select the last name column. I'm going to click into the function bar, type my equals, and start typing regex. Select regex extract when I get to it. For text, again, I'm going to select the email address in column A, so A2, comma, to get to the next parameter with a regular expression, which again needs to go in double quotation marks. And when I start typing here, we had backslash period to mean after the period. And then in double brackets, we had a hyphen Z, and then capital A hyphen capital Z, and then we had an asterisk. When we type in this, we're getting the period and the whole last name. And we don't want that. So if we go back to regex tool, there is something that can help us here. And again, there's some differences between how regular expression works here and in the Google Sheets. So we won't find a difference here, but this actually works in Google Sheets, and that is the groups feature. If we use the parentheses to denote a capture group, something we want to capture together, that's going to help us in Google Sheets. So in other words, I don't want to capture the period, so I'm not going to put that in parentheses, but I'm going to put parentheses around everything I want to capture, which is all of the letters and as many of them as I can find in a row. And then I will see the same thing here in my regexer tool, but if I go over to Google Sheets, and then I put parentheses around my brackets and my asterisk and I hit enter, then I'll see here this tool is only returning my capture group. So they work a little differently. All right, so just like before, we are going to wrap this all in proper. And when I hit enter, I will see I get only last names all the way down, even in cases where there is a 1 in the email address, because we are selecting only the letters. All right, so regular expressions can get extremely complicated. So we're sticking to this example. And in some cases, if you're trying to figure out how to write a regular expression, Google or an AI tool to look up how someone else has done that before. It is such a powerful tool. Take a look at this next video for even more ways to use regular expressions in Google Sheets.